you doing?
Here we have Charles Wicks. He is the young Democratic Party leader here in Oklahoma, and he was a witness to Joe Biden's speech to the last remaining survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre.
Before, he came and delivered the speech, he met with Dr. Crutcher and Pastor Crutcher, and he kind of, they welcomed him in, and then also he met with the survivors. And they had a good conversation, and then he did a small tour of the culture center, and I think that was really good because it kind of helped him to really get a more intimate look, and it's kind of hard. It's hard not to get affected by the conversation by Mother Fletcher and the rest. Because they're so phenomenal, and they have so much history and life experience and lived experience of living, in the after effects of the massacre. And so it definitely was a lot. We had to be there between 10:45 and 11:45 a.m. a.m. And he didn't do his speech until like 3:15. And so we were hanging out. There were about 12 different Congress members there. There were some national civil rights leaders there. There were some national faith leaders there. And everyone was just, having good conversation and connecting. And it was just a really strong moment. This weekend has been a lot. There's been some time of happiness, some joy, and then there's been some sadness and sorrow to think about what was leading up to the moments that led to that attack, which we call a terrorist attack, and even the afterword of talking about future plans and actions that are going forth. There's definitely a lot. Like this next Friday, I'll be on a Zoom with the White House that'll kind of have more conversation about, what are some of the action items and some other things with that. So there's some real work ahead. And I'm looking forward to that because, everybody loves to come to a commemoration. Everybody loves to come to a one-hit wonder event.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we have to live with this aftermath. We have to live with what happens next. And I am very vested in making sure that what happens next is the start of a rebuild and the start of a renaissance for what we lost.
As an audience member, did you feel that the White House is connected with the issue?
Yes, but it wasn't just from the speech. It's because of the conversations that's been happening before. We had some really good dialogue and conversations just over the period of the weekend with Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, who was putting out HR 40, which is the bill to start reparations case study. There's been conversation because, the survivors went and spoke at the Judicial Council for Congress. And after that, they met with Vice President Harris. And so there's been dialogue and things that have kind of been building up even to this moment for a good little while now.
Yeah.
And it's going to keep going forward. There's talks of different avenues of support. So it's definitely there. I would say, I'm in politics, so we still have to play the game.
Sure.
And we still have to kind of deal with all the ups and flows that go along with that.
Yeah.
But we're going to be here, and we're going to be a part of the process for a long time to come. So
good.
Definitely.
I'm glad you are. And thank you very much for coming on the show with us. And thank you very much for everything that you're doing for the community.
Well, the biggest thing is your property. What happens if they lose it in a tornado?
That's
What
a good
happens
point,
if somebody
yeah.
breaks What happens if somebody breaks in? So really it comes down to protecting the property for them
Right.
more than, you can do crop insurance as well, but it's just protecting the building and what's inside it, your lights and everything else. It's just like any other retail type business or anything that you want to insure. That's what it's there for. It's to protect the owner of that business, for sure.
Makes sense. So, like crop insurance or crop coverage, that would that cover if like you were to lose your whole harvest?
It
So
would if
like
some
some kind of weather or
if it's a weather instance. Like I told an old school grower years ago, he's like, Scott, if I get spider mites, are you going to insure me? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to insure you for spider mites. It doesn't work that way. So it's the little things is that you want to make sure that with these shops that are out there, these grows that are out there, a lot of them now have got dispensaries in front of them. So your dispensary is going to need insurance as well on the inventory and the building itself, along with the general liability. So you've got to have that. Otherwise, what happens if you lose it all?
right? Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
that's my key to it.
Yeah. And so typically whenever they come to approach you, do they approach you before everything? Or what would you
I would have to
rather?
say it's kind of a mix, James. I mean, what we're finding, obviously, we've got some great people out there that we work with. Sarah Lee, some of her people are our people, clients as well. And some of them have already started and some of them are just getting into it and looking to get their licenses. So it's really kind of a toss up. Obviously, a lot of them are business people, so they know that it's a necessity.
Yeah.
So I would say the majority are looking at it prior to starting or right at their first harvest on the grow side.
I
What
got
I'm
you.
seeing.
And that's really your preference as a provider.
I like to be in at the front end so we know that there's no issues, coming out later on. I think that's vital to them because by showing them now what they could lose because their investment is huge. I mean, these, as well as I do, these owners are putting in anywhere from $250,000 to $1 million into a grow facility.
Mm-hmm.
So something happens.
It's nothing really to laugh at, is it? I mean,
that's a big number,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what is a couple $1,000s to protect your business? Just like anything. I mean, we protect our house and our cars.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, you're supposed to.
It's
You're,
kind of important,
I'm sorry to
let's
bring
not
that.
be
I'm sorry to be
too
the one that you're supposed to be protecting your house and cars, but yeah, no, totally. And if you've got an investment of that size, I mean, you want to make sure that you are covered. And I'm glad that you do cover mold and mites. I'm just kidding.
Hey, dude, and I'll tell you who I told. I told AJ, Sour Diesel, the original Sour Diesel grower. We were sitting in my cousin's living room in California, and he looked at me straight in the eye and he goes, "Hey, Scott, you going to cover for spider mites?" "No, AJ, if you're that kind of grower, we have problems."
yeah, it's we're not going to be able to cover you.
No, we're going to have to pass on this one right now. And, as he's got fresh Sour Diesel in his hands, I'm like, "Yes, sir."
Yeah, then he's like, "Well, we can work in trade, right?"
That's right. We can fix this right now.
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, and a lot of these business owners, James, realize that never thought about it as a coverage for their grow facilities or their dispensaries. A lot of them don't look at it like that. And there's a lot of cash going through these companies and saved, spent, paid taxes, however you want to call it. It's minute to protect yourself. And man, I want to just make sure the clients are taken care of, the businesses are taken care of. That's key.
Yeah, that's and then also it's like you in this industry we have a ton of people that have never owned a business before ever.
Yeah.
And it's a big influx of people that need help, and they need to be educated and know that if they do this up front, it could possibly save them a lot of
could
heartache
save-
and headache down the line. So
Yeah, I think it could
yeah.
save their business, no doubt. I think it's key. So it's everybody's different. Everybody has a different approach to the way they run their business, and we adapt to them. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Want to make them happy and give them the best possible coverage that is out there.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty cool. I mean, we've been watching you for sure, and we've been enjoying going along to the sessions, that's for sure. I like how you're doing it, though. I like how you're taking it slow a little bit. I mean, you're kind of being forced to not take it slow, really. If you look at your situation, it's pretty unique. Sorry.
I appreciate it, yeah.
But yeah, I really like your mentality as far as like, hey, do it the right way, go it slow, don't get overwhelmed with all of the,
Yeah.
everything. But it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's definitely, we're getting kind of pushed at this point because we're kind of growing faster than, because like I said, essentially it was just me and the boys. We didn't really have, like, we weren't a business. We didn't have, like, a budget. We didn't have, like, money set aside to, like, make a big, event. We've been doing, the first 3 that we did were all free. We just kind of popped up at different locations that kind of just wanted to collab with us. And then after more or less running out of space, and we kind of just, like, it was between parking and, like, not having enough space. We just needed to get bigger, really, and the only way to do that, we even talked to some of the people that went to the first few sessions, and they told us, if we ended up where we asked, if we ended up charging a fee, like, to get a solid location, have all of us actually pull up and participate in the sesh, would they do it, be down for it, and unanimously everybody was like, yeah, dude, we definitely want to see this thing expand. So we kind of took that and tried to find some of the coolest venues possible, and so far we locked down the Magnolia, and I know there's going to be more cool spots to come, so
Yeah.
we're kind of just, but we've got a couple dope options like off the first one, and so we're kind of keeping those in our back pocket and trying to see like how many cool things that we can kind of make happen just organically before we kind of take all this. It's kind of been a flood lately, so we're kind of just like sticking with what we know for a minute, letting the hype build up, and then kind of just seeing what our options are there. So
Yeah, it sounds like it's been a ride.
Yeah.
Hey, if you don't mind getting a little bit closer to the mic though, so that we can hear you. Everybody wants to hear the voice coming out of that right there. Look at that beautiful
Wait,
beast.
so when is the next sesh?
next session is June 12th, so a week from tomorrow. June
Okay.
12th, at 7 p.m. The tickets are solely going to be sold online at theseshokc.com through Eventbrite. That is only because we have a capacity of 250, so we have to make sure that we don't exceed that, so the fire marshals don't get called. And we're already kind of smoking in a building that's been around for over 100 years, so it's already a feat in itself. So we're right in a gray area, pretty bareback. So we're trying to do it as subtle and with as much poise as we can. So, but if they keep selling out at 250, I can only imagine like the potential from there. And we're really shooting for establishing ourselves as being, one of the premier smoke sessions where it's not like, it's not like ratchet or like poorly ran, and it's not, just kind of a bunch of like stoners that just look like it would be a house party or something on steroids. We want it to be like a good representation of, the type of people that are in the cannabis community, which are not lazy stoners. They're very driven, very passionate people. They're really, really great people, and a lot of times I feel like they don't get the opportunity to go, network and mingle with like-minded people because they're limited to like the bar area, or they're limited to this kind of like barricade of having to participate in something that's not quite in their realm because their stuff isn't accepted. So I know there's a lot of places, or a lot of people, a lot of stories I've heard where, more stoners are having to break out of the stoner shell and drink versus like having someone come into or having like someone who drinks come into the stoner world where they can still drink, but then also be in a world where smoking is 100% okay. So.
Yeah, I really like that because, old school mentality is you hide and smoke, or you find a spot and smoke and all that. And, you know, there's some nostalgia to that, but there's also an embarrassment factor.
Yeah.
And there's also a factor of feeling like a piece of shit.
For sure.
And
Yeah,
so, yeah, you know, and so I like what you're doing. I like that you're giving an avenue for people to come out and be themselves.
And that's really like the people who kept, like, who voted for 788 and kept really the thrill, like the passion of cannabis alive, are more or less the people that are coming to the sesh, because they've, you know, I know personally I've been like dying for something like this to happen. It's usually just been house parties or like, you know, meetups at your buddy's house that where you can hang out, have a drink and smoke and not have to worry about it. But it's rare that it's at a public event, and so it's honestly pretty nice to see that like people are supporting. We're all like, no one's going crazy about it because we've all seen where it's been before, and we want it to continually progress, and we don't want to, you know, do anything to kind of ruin the track it's already on progression wise. So it's super cool to see like kind of like the maturity of you know, cannabis users.
Yeah, man, it is.
Event space.
That's exactly it. It's a perfect way to look at it, because I remember, I mean, man, when 788 hit and everybody was like, oh yeah, we smoke weed too. And, you know, it's like, but I remember thinking,
The bandwagoners.
Yeah, I remember thinking, man, it'd be cool if I could just get together and smoke with some people, you know, that I've never met before.
Well, and that's the thing too, is it was like from that point, especially after COVID, it was like, then it was cool to smoke, but then, you know, it wasn't at first legal to smoke in public. Then the amendment got passed where now you can smoke anywhere you can smoke a cigarette. So then it's like meeting in public places. I mean, flexing your rights is one thing, but you don't want to bring unnecessary attention to yourself.
Sure.
It's kind of the opposite of the point, really. And so then it's like, you know, meeting people through I felt like lately it's been meeting people through Instagram, meeting people through social medias of some sort where cannabis is the common denominator, and then through mutual friends. It takes like 2 or 3 degrees of separation and kind of like marinating a friendship in order to do it like that. And so I feel like this is almost like the beeline version, where if we just had a monthly, or even like now I think it's getting to the point where we'll just collab with a lot of cannabis sessions where they know, like, if it's, you know, I mean, not even doesn't have to be a sesh. Like, I don't necessarily want to be on everything, but I just kind of like, I'm glad that we're kind of getting more events that are happening out, because it's you know, it's necessary. I feel like because people don't like being alone. Like, we need human interaction, and it's honestly so nice to have human interaction when you're both passionate. People are both passionate about the same kind of topics, and you have like mutually.
We were just talking about this.
Yeah.
Like, because there's one thing about like progressing in a career and progressing in your life. Like, a lot of people don't do it, or are held back from doing it because they don't find themselves in places where they're finding people like with like-minded passions. It inspires you, it motivates you, it gives you, like, it determines you to like make movements every single day and do little things that kind of just like turn the knob, and you stay, you know, in a mindset where it's like, okay, if I hang out with these people, I know these people aren't just gonna sit around. They're at least chasing a passion. So, you know, at least by secondhand,
by association, you know.
Yeah, like you're either like getting a little piece of that determination from them, or you're like watching them chase their passion and figuring out you have the same passion, let's do it together. Or you're saying, damn, if this person's chasing their passion like this with no one worrying about how they're gonna do it, like they look like they're about to go broke doing it, like if they can do that and not worrying about what anybody thinks, like why can't I?
Yeah.
So this just kind of, to me, and it's crazy because cannabis has a lot of like young entrepreneurial mindset people where they're just looking for a spot to just collaborate and converse and find all these people. And I've noticed like the last couple sessions, like a bunch of people my age in the media game, in the music game, in the content creating game, and like it's just surreal, honestly.
Yeah, it's awesome to witness, you know, to sit back and watch as everything is happening. And you know, it's one of the things that's funny because it's one of the topics I wanted to talk about that I've been struggling with personally is you know, standing out. I mean, or I guess trying to influence what you're trying to get across, and instead of trying to be like everyone else or how you think that you're supposed to be in order to do that, you're actually supposed to be different.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be different.
100%.
That's the point of it.
Yeah.
And so it's a struggle, man. And it's a struggle that's opened up by cannabis, I believe, to young entrepreneurs like you're talking about, to where they're able to come out and say, hey, you know what? I'm really creative too.
Yeah.
I don't have to go this specific route in order to be successful. I can come out, I can do this, I can do it the way that I love to do it. And
Yep.
guess what? Other people do like it too. That's fine. And I'm going to be myself and I'm going to be happy for the rest of my life.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
It is. It's like really, it's freeing, honestly. A lot of people, I feel like, feel like they're locked in a cage because they have to hide. I like meet people every single day that are just now getting into cannabis, and they felt like their job or like being socially shunned and kind of exiled has kept them from even smoking or doing it in public. And I've been in the cannabis game, black market, for 10 years, and I know a lot of people that still won't get their card, that still want to find, black market drug or black market weed. And I'm like, man, you just need to accept the fact that it's socially acceptable if you just make it, you have to make it okay with you and people will be okay. It's not that big of a deal anymore. So I feel like once you kind of come to grips with, it's kind of like a self thing. If you can kind of just come to grips with the fact that, you can make it, you'll be okay no matter what. People will accept you for who you, most of the time. I can't say that for everybody because there are some people that just don't accept it. My parents haven't exactly accepted it off the rip anyways, so I don't blame a lot of people. But it really just comes down, I've always accepted that this was a passion of mine, so I wasn't going to let even my parents or anyone close to me tell me that it wasn't worth it for me, because it just always was. So it's just cool to see a lot of people kind of getting in the same boat. It happens every single day, and I just see, I'm like, that's exactly where I was. You're waking up, you're finding that this can be a passion that you can have, and you can make money off of it. You can be happy off of it. It can help so many health problems. I wake up every single day and take a fat dab, and I know a lot of people can't even fathom taking a dab throughout the day, much less waking up
or ever
operating.
Yeah.
Right. And so to me, it helps pain. I would be in pain every single day if I didn't have this life that I'm blessed to have, to be able to smoke really good concentrates with quality processors in Oklahoma. So I think it's just crazy to see. It's just cool to see every single day the things that happen.
Yeah. Have you guys, Jasmine, have you been on out of the state since 788?
Oh yeah.
It's weird, isn't it?
Actually, right after 788, I got my card, and I was slated to go to Hawaii as well. So Hawaii has, med only, and I was able to get my temp card in Hawaii and smoke in Hawaii, and that was absolutely phenomenal.
I bet it was.
So it's weird because, over in Hawaii, it's you have to have a debilitating issue in order to get the temp. So it's fully medical. They had a doctor office and everything. So it is kind of different seeing it in the different states and how they do everything. But I never thought Oklahoma would be the one to, especially be the most lenient. We have the most dispensaries.
Is so laid back.
Yeah, it's the easiest to get the licensing here in Oklahoma than it is anywhere else, and we have the most dispensaries than California and Colorado combined.
It is crazy because I used to go to Colorado back before it was legal here, and I thought Colorado had a lot of dispensaries. So I remember pulling into Trinidad. It was the first road, and I remember stopping at, there's a strip mall. 3 dispensaries were, I'm not even kidding you, next door to each other. They were next door to each other. And I remember going into all 3 of them, and I was like, how are y'all doing competing with each other? And they're like, we're great. It's rec. I mean, you guys come in, I'm thinking, wow, there must be dispensaries literally everywhere.
Yeah.
And then I hear the stats for Oklahoma, and I'm like, holy crap.
I remember the first time I traveled to Denver. I drove there after it became legal. I have no reason why I would do that, but
Yeah, not me either.
Anyway, I remember thinking to myself, I can't wait to cross that state line so I could just smell it. I was like, I just want to smell the whole way, the whole state. That was what it was in my mind. It was going to be heaven. But anyway.
You almost could, though. You could manifest what it was like, oh, I think that's
Yeah.
what it smells like.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can definitely smell it when you get into Denver.
Yeah, but man, I recently went out of state and it was just weird. It was just so hard. It's so hard to go back to that. I hate to even imagine being back in that state of mind to where you're having to hide.
Yeah, I was just thinking that too. I feel like a lot of people do forget, like, and that's kind of why we're taking this stuff so slow too. Is we're not trying to be like, it can easily be misconstrued as like, you know, a drug sesh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we want it to be really like taken kind of seriously. Where that's kind of why we did 21 and up for the first couple times. We did them at a bar. So you had to be 21. The established crowd was an older, a little bit more mature crowd. So by the time, like, you know, the 18-year-olds and up got a chance to get involved. They were around mostly adults, so there wasn't a chance for like the stigma to kind of like lay into itself. But yeah.
You mean so we're actually going to allow adults to make choices for themselves about their own freaking lifestyles?
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
Revolutionary.
It is crazy, but it is the direction we're heading, yes.
Oh, wow. I mean, it's like, wow, it's like real life.
Yeah, it's life I always dreamed of, honestly.
Yeah. You know, it always gets me to whenever, you know, you talk to people in society and everything, and there's this belief, there's this general belief that if you are a person, if you can conversate, and there's this social contract, if you will, that in order to be a good person, you have to act a certain way and do a certain thing and all of this. And, you know, those people have always, to me, have been considered pretty good people throughout history and all of that. And then whenever this comes legal, and then you still sit back and you can judge, and you can still say that, well, we want you to make your choices as an adult, but don't do it this way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Choices.
It freaking irks the hell out of me. And there's so many people that are close to me that are like that. So I get what you're saying as far as like, yeah, it's still okay. And there are those people out there, the old school environment, that are still worried about getting their license. Mm-hmm. I understand that. I understand that group.
Yeah. My mom is one of those people too. Unfortunately, she still works for the government, so we don't have a conversation about it. But I know she suffers from arthritis enough that CBD at the least would help her, and it's not even a conversation that she's willing to have right now. And it makes me kind of sad because I feel like it could benefit her, but it's just unfortunate on the federal side of things, because I feel like that's a big limiting factor to a lot of the older demographic, because they've already been established as it being illegal for so long. And like, what's the need for changing their mind now?
Yeah.
Like, my mom's literally said those words. She's like, I've just thought this way for so long. Like, it's not gonna. There's no need for me to start thinking differently. I'm like,
But your body might.
It's like there's this like wall up that's preventing people because they've never tried it, so they have no idea how, like, in how many different ways it could actually change your life.
Unless it's like CBD and people are like, oh, it's CBD, it's not bad for you. And it's like, it's part of the whole cannabis sativa plant, guys.
And
like,
in her defense, my parents both have never they've never smoked a cigarette, they've never smoked weed, they've never done anything but drink alcohol at dinner time.
Right,
so
yeah.
I get it, but...
Yeah, and that's not to, I mean, I would never talk down on someone that does not want to try something. That's not what I'm trying to say here. What I'm trying to say is the people that don't have an open mind, that other people do actually kind of need it. So, but, you know, very much need it, actually.
Definitely. I feel like a lot of people could like benefit from it, honestly. Especially in lieu of pharmaceutical and prescription drugs, a lot of the chemicals which cause more side effects than the problems that they solve. So. Oh
yeah, for sure. But you know, back to, you know, what you've got going on as far as like with the session and everything. I love that you have a connection aspect to it, networking aspect to it. It's not really networking though.
No,
It doesn't
like
feel like you're going there with a name tag on.
No, yeah, it definitely doesn't, and that's kind of the cool part. Is it's really like it ended up being like, ironically, like a lot of the main people that showed up was like a lot of our friends in the community that were like creative and or had something personally going on that was like cool to network. So it didn't originally intend on like the intention wasn't to be like a networking event, but then it ends up being like you meet so many people there. I meet people that I never even knew before. First, just a couple ones, and this hasn't even been like advertised. It's really just been word of mouth at this point. So it's like cool to see how like cool it is. Like most of these cannabis events end up being networking events without realizing it, just because everyone there has something cool that they do and offer. So, and I think that's what's cool about the cannabis community itself is it just breeds like so many people that are creative and just they use cannabis as like the crux of that creativity, and it's never been like able to be comfortably done before or like exposed and like produced and like marketed, and so it's just like freaking dope.
Well, there you go, making it comfortable for everybody. I love it.
Yeah, that's the goal. Plus, I want everybody to come up, man. Like the people that started doing the music, Hugh Glass. I don't think he had been on maybe one tour, like a local tour, and once before last year, and he was working on an album, and he came up. His buddy was DJing. He had DJ'd for us for a sesh, just because we needed a DJ. Ended up being like some of the coolest guys we've ever met in our lives. Hugh ends up being like the craziest rapper we've ever met. So it ended up being cool because like we're watching the rise of them. Like they've ever since they did their first, like Keaton came to a sesh, and we didn't have a DJ. I was just playing music. I had a phone, 2 of my cell phones playing music. I wasn't even taking any like videos of the night or anything. I had one speaker in one side of the place playing music, another speaker on this side playing music, and I was winging it. And he pulled up and was like, dude, you guys need a DJ. And I was like, man, we can't really afford a DJ and stuff. And he was like, I'll do it for free.
That's awesome.
I was like, dude, this is crazy. So we did that. From that point, he ends up getting booked to a couple other shows. He gets booked to a couple more cannabis events. He's starting to get paid now. So he's like, bro, he's like, oh, he's going to do this stuff. We're ending up paying him now for the sesh. So it's just cool to see the progression of like, people networking. It's not just like us trying to, because it's not about just us making money. Like these venues actually do cost money, so everything that we get, we spend right back into it basically to put on the event. So me and the boys that throw the sesh, we've got 2 other jobs. Most of us have 1 or 2 other jobs. So this is just something that we do to make time for the people that we really don't have time to see. So this is a way for us to schedule it into our. It's just wild that it turned out to like this, because we were just gonna make it like a sesh that we just scheduled. Like now we're like full on having to do marketing. Like, we had to get a freaking bank account, an LLC for this. We're like, what?
You grow and you put some water on it. You grew. Oh man,
it's still crazy.
I love it. Well, you need sponsors, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, yeah, we've been getting sponsors late after this last one. So it's like I said, it's been growing organically. So the first 3 or 4 we didn't have a sponsor. We didn't have a sponsor the very first one. Second one, we had like a dab bar that was sponsored by Noble Nectar, and then Medican, and I think someone else sponsored. I can't remember right now. And then we kind of had like mixed sponsors, but this last like Magnolia one was the first one we had like full on like a row of sponsors, and then from that point I've got like a waiting list. Me and Jacob and Hunter all just like, dude, this person's trying to give us money right now, like locking in for the next month. So we're almost booked all of next month. And August, I'm trying to plan. I think we have 2 in August. One's going to be the monthly sesh, but then we got another one, like a pop-up style sesh in another town. I'm trying to solidify the details on that, but we're going to start doing kind of that where we'll have a month. Well, at least that's kind of the plan. If we can make it happen where we kind of get like a routine where we know what we're bringing, we know what we can provide pop-up wise, and then collaborations like marketing. We want to be able to have at least a week out for people to let them know where we're going to be at, but we want to kind of have stuff for people to do every weekend, but not all in Oklahoma City, so it's like repetitive. So we'll have like the monthly sesh in the city, and then pop-ups, like smaller style pop-ups at dispensaries or like in different towns, because I sell for $14.40 in Nextleaf, so I'm in all these different towns anyway. They know about the sesh. They're like, well, you guys will do pop-ups for the sesh or vendor pop-ups. So I've got me and all the guys have all of these that are on our disposal. So it's really cool to just be able to hopefully get all this stuff lined up. Hopefully we can just have something cool for like every weekend of the month going forward.
Awesome.
Who are some of the sponsors that are going to be there next weekend?
So Next Leaf is going to be one of our sponsors. We have Bare Essentials that's going to be putting on a hash bar, so you'll be able to smoke some freaking hash all night. There's a couple that I'm still waiting for payment on, but for the most part, it's going to be booked up. I'll be dropping the rest of them as they secure the payment on the Instagram at the Sesh OKC. So definitely excited about that. Not to give away the details.
Perfect.
You're having like a rooftop pre-party at this one too, right?
Yeah. Oh, 1440. I'm sorry. They're definitely. I just got the invoice today. But yeah.
He's like, wait.
It's like make sure that
I work for them, but I don't just assume that they're gonna do it. So
yeah.
I'll wait for the okay. But yeah, we're
There you
having
go. Out of respect.
Yeah, 100%. It's got to go down the chain of command first, so go up the chain of command. But yeah, we're having a rooftop pre-party. We were supposed to have the after party at the rooftop last time, but it was the potential of raining was like pretty high. Moving a bunch of electronics that we were renting from another place wasn't exactly on our highest smart idea list, so we were just gonna leave everything there and kind of just plan ahead a little better. So this time we're gonna probably kick off the pre-party around noon or 2 o'clock or so. So we'll have the rooftop. We'll have it pretty obvious when we're chilling at. So we'll do some music, probably some food trucks, a couple like early vendor pop-ups over there. Maybe like, I don't know, we'll grill out, do something cool. We'll figure it out, spur of the moment. Like I said, we're just winging this stuff. So everybody's been cool with it so far. We take like suggestions from everybody. So we're 100% not like, we're not like the man that knows what we're doing. We're not professionals. So we take everybody's input and suggestions and just try to make it overall like the coolest experience that we can every time. So
That's a good way to go about it. I love it.
Yes.
Well, man, I can't wait to go to the next one. I know we've got some tickets to the next one, and then we've got,
I can't wait.
you know, of course, we'll be around.
Man,
So.
I can't wait. I'm excited, man.
I got a tattoo at the last one.
You
got
did?
a
No.
tattoo.
Let's see it.
Are
What'd
you
you
gonna?
get?
If you go to the next one, are you gonna get a tattoo?
Am I gonna get it? Wait, do they give tattoos there?
So we had a tattoo. We had a tattoo artist at the last Sash. Yeah, she was literally just in the back. Like it wasn't like promoted because we didn't know if she was actually gonna make it. But yeah, she ended up doing like 30 tattoos. I actually got my hand tattooed a couple times. But I forgot it was tattooed. Like I was rubbing stuff on it every time, and then I'd just get high and not think about it. It would itch. I'd scratch it. The scab would rip some off. I'm like, well, this was a tattoo.
Yeah, it was a tattoo. Now it's a scar.
But yeah, like 30 people got tattooed.
What did you get? What tattoo did you get?
I got a rose on my hand on top. I got two rings around my, I guess like.
Now they're just kind of lines.
Yeah, they're kind of lines.
And lines with scars.
Yeah.
And then like this is actually the meaningful one that I got, the two like arrows going up and then two X's. I guess this, I forgot what it means already because I'm high as hell, but it was like you're like the leader of your own, or the leader of your own life, and then like sure.
Okay.
I'm sure I can find it in 2 seconds, but it's one of those things where
All right, Jasmine, I see you got some tattoos over there. What's your favorite tattoo there? I like them all. Look at that.
Favorite tattoo.
No, don't show me their favorite tattoo.
I have to take my pants off for that. I got them everywhere. Like I have 3 aisles. I have a really big one on my thigh. That's very meaningful to me. Half of it was a drawing from my brother, and I got that tattooed on me. And then, of course, from, sentimental ones from people who've passed away.
Yeah, I got you.
Got them
So,
all over.
yeah. So, we're not going to look at your favorite one, but
Yeah.
so you're into owls?
Yeah, so the one here, I actually got this on my 1-year wedding anniversary. My husband got this as my present. So this is the the mountains across the Rockies in Colorado. And an owl, and then I got the waxing crescent is when he passed. It's the moon phase, and then 9/11 is the time he was born in Cherokee, because he was part Cherokee as well. So this is the most meaningful that you can actually see all the time.
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
This is hella meaningful. I just forgot what it meant. I got the time. I was looking up cool symbols, but I like triple double checked this too, so it's not wrong. But it means the top two arrows are Viking symbols. That mean you create your own reality, and then the bottom X's are Greek symbols of Inges. That mean where there's a will, there's a way.
Okay. All right.
My name's William. So.
It sounds like you really. It sounds like you thought that out.
I actually did. I just haven't. I didn't know I was gonna get on my hand. And like, this is where I'm getting it. So.
There you go, man. Hey, nothing like the moment.
I love it. I live in it, and so far so good, right?
Yep. Looks like it. I love it.
Do you have any tattoos?
I've got a few.
Okay. I see one.
I'm spotting a mid high calf tat.
Yeah, I've got a few here and there.
Yeah.
Jacob got a little X under his calf, or under his. He has like a little. I'm not sure what it is, like a lucky. I think it's like a clover or something, but he got just like a little X tat, just to say he got a sedge tat. Something just small. So it was tight. You don't have to get anything crazy, but she'll charge you.
I want to get one. Like, what? Oh.
Yeah.
2 minutes until 2:30, where you have your other.
Oh, I'm so
Nice.
She's like.
that is Jasmine reminding me that I need to hurry up. I love it.
We're wrapping it up.
I love it. All right, we're gonna wrap this up, man. It was so awesome to have you in here.
Dude, thank
I
you so
cannot
much.
wait for the next sesh. I can't wait.
to
As
see
a matter
you
of
guys
fact, let's
there.
just have a sesh right now.
Dude, let's sesh.
Let's do it. Sesh it up. Let's go.